C's, your Nurse Jackies, these shows that sort of walk the line between drama and comedy?
Yeah, I haven't seen many of them, but I've heard good things about them. And as far as that category, what do I think of it? I guess it's tough to I don't know. I like anything that's difficult to categorize. So
Mm,
if that's a term that they've come up with, then
yeah.
it's a little cheesy, I suppose. But you got to call it something, don't you?
Yeah, and I guess we're talking about different types of comedies. You guys are the only multi-camera audience, sitcom nominated at the Emmys this year. There were none nominated last year. It looked like sort of that genre was sort of starting to get a bit ignored by the Emmys. What does it feel to be sort of at least at the Emmys, the bastions of single cam comedy? Multi-cam laugh track comedy.
I hadn't even considered that. That's true, and that's makes it even that much more of an honor. I'm always confused when it comes to the directing categories. I really wish the Academy would take a look at splitting up for directing single camera and multi-camera, because they're just too you can't compare. I mean, in multi-camera, you're very, very limited as a director as to what you can do, and in my opinion, that requires a lot more creativity. But it's just apples and oranges. I wish they would split those up for the directors.
Yeah, no, for sure. Someone's asked if you could work with any actor, who would it be and why?
I was just thinking about this the other day. I'd love to work with Jeff Bridges next. I love his work, and I know a lot of people who have worked with him, and they say only incredible things and revere him as a dear mentor. I don't know in what way, shape, or form that would be, but I'd love to work with him.
And so, if you weren't an actor, what do you think you'd be doing now?
Oh boy. Hmm. I know what I wouldn't want to be. I just had this thought over coffee this morning. I wouldn't want to be a school bus driver. That seems like a very stressful job. What would I be? Honestly, I think I'd like to be a journalist. One of my favorite parts of acting is that initial research, that homework, and I go and I talk to people that I otherwise wouldn't, and generally people like to talk about themselves, so it's not difficult work,
Yeah.
but it's fascinating. I really enjoyed that journalistic element of the acting homework.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. There's someone's asked a bit of a loaded question, so feel free to answer this how you want. It says, for a
Okay.
while, you guys had 2.5 Men as your lead in. How do you feel about the current situation with Charlie Sheen? It's
Oh,
sort of not a yeah.
yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. I guess it was nice for Chuck Lorre, who probably had a tough, stressful year with all that stuff to get in for Big Bang Theory, and that's nice for him. But yeah,
Oh,
um,
with the nomination, you mean?
I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm saying at least it was probably quite a stressful year for Chuck Lorre, and I think it's nice that he was able to get in for Big Bang Theory and sort of cap off the season on a good note,
Yeah.
rather than be in the press for all the drama. Um, but someone's how do you go about learning your lines? Is it hard to to change the thing that's happened? Sorry, I've read that badly. Is it hard to remember the changes that happen on taping night?
No, those are my favorite when they rewrite something on the fly in front of the audience right there, because that's the collaborative process in full effect and under the gun, and it's really it's exciting. It's difficult if you have a long speech, and that's initially not difficult to learn, or for me, fortunately, it's not. Memorization has always come quite easy to me. But then if they get in and they just change a word or two somewhere in the middle, that's what will really throw you. And it's not as much difficult to learn the lines, but then sometimes your vocal abilities just don't cooperate. Sometimes, you can get through a full page speech fine, and then you turn to say, pass the ketchup, and you stumble all over it.
Totally random, but who is taller, you or Simon?
That's a good question. Um, I think we're probably about the same height.
Someone said, what other role would you have wanted to play on the show?
Well, I asked to play Leonard initially when Chuck Lorre first called me, and they didn't have anything written yet. But he told me about this idea that he and Bill Prady had, and asked if they could, and about these two characters, Leonard and Sheldon, and he was talking to me about the Sheldon role, and asked if he could fax me some pages once they wrote them in the coming weeks, and I said yes, of course, absolutely, and so as the weeks went on and more pages were faxed, I got more and more excited about the show and working with Chuck and Bill, and then came a point where I said, I think I'm more interested in this Leonard role, and it was that dynamic with the Penny character that that was kind of uncharted territory for me as an actor. I didn't get to play those romantic roles all that often. And I didn't know if Chuck would say, well, then forget it. Maybe we'll do another show another time. But he said very simply, well, then play that role.
Oh,
that
that's nice.
that was it. Yeah. So I got to play the role that I wanted to play.
Someone's asked, have you been inspired from the show to learn more about comics or any of the other geeky things that the characters are interested in?
Well, I collected as a kid. I was a big fan of Richard and Wendy Penny and their ElfQuest book, and I was an X-Men fan, and I think I went as Nightcrawler for Halloween, probably 4 or 5 Halloweens in a row, and some of that stuff, and especially now though, as opposed to when I was younger, the craftsmanship in some of those busts and those action figures are they're really, really impressive. So yeah, because that stuff is laying around the set, and sometimes we get sent a new comic book or something, then yeah, definitely I page through. I haven't started collecting again, but I have a lot of admiration for those artists.
Someone's asked, besides playing cello, what other secret talents do you possess?
Well, I don't play cello well, so I don't know if you would call it a secret talent.
I'm sure you play it better than me, I would guess.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I've never touched a cello. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. I feel safe saying that.
Yeah.
I paint a bit. I play a little bit of guitar, and I played drums for a few years. I was thinking the other day I'd like to pick those up again. And the painting is something I've gotten into in the last couple of years. I think it's really important to, especially in the business that we're in, where there's so much focus on the result of the work, of the opening weekend box office, or the reviews, or the Nielsen ratings, or whatever it might be. I think it's important to do something creative that you just enjoy the process of, without any pressure on what the result of the product is going to be. I know by the time I'm done with this painting that it's probably going to be awful, but I'm completely fine with that, and I enjoy the process of it alone.
Yeah. Someone's asked, what will you be doing on the next Entourage episode this weekend? Did you enjoy working on that show?
I did. I had a blast. Those guys are a lot of fun. It was a really good time. I think 2 of the 3 have aired now, but I'm not exactly sure. I think the next one is will be my final episode.